Okay, welcome to tonight's presentation, guys. Top trading tools that beginners must know. So the presentation is geared towards beginning traders that want to get started and they want to understand what tools they need to have in their tool belt to get going, right? To have the best experience possible and be ready to eventually the goal, right? The goal eventually is to start your live account, right? Start your broker, set up a professional platform like Dash Trader Pro, and be prepared with all the tools you need to get going, right? So we'll talk a little bit about some of the tools. And as I was putting this presentation together, and I know I'm biased to Trading Terminal, of course. I'm very biased because it's part of our tool. We've done an amazing job because I was comparing when I started trading back in 2017, and man, all the tools that we have in Trading Terminal were all over the place, right? I was going to different places to get those tools, and I'll have a slide towards the end talking about budgets and stuff like that. It added up. It added up pretty nice. I was paying for all these different platforms, and it got expensive very, very quickly, right? Plus, you have to go to different places to get I never used the book map until now, which again is becoming an amazing tool. But to get the replay, to be able to get all these other tools, it was not ideal. So Andrew's done an amazing job with this Trading Terminal, and he's going to continue to do it because he's so focused in what this can be for traders, especially new traders starting out, right? And that's the point, to get new traders all the tools up ahead and in front and center so they can be able to get everything coordinated. All right, so quick disclaimer. I'll leave this up on the screen. A lot of you guys, if you've seen any presentation from us, you're very familiar with this disclaimer, and we'll jump right in. For those that don't know me, who is this guy? My name is Carlos Moreta. I'm one of the moderators here at Bearable Traders. And prior to trading, I used to work for an operations company, and I was there for 12 years. And the only reason I left that company was because they were going to relocate to Kentucky. And, they were asking people, hey, do you want to go down and move? We basically bought out GE appliances, right? So GE separated their businesses into different categories. The profitable business is the aviation stuff. That stuff they kept. But they outsourced a 20-year license to Hire America, which is a Chinese company. And I was just not going to relocate. And this is a job, guys, I'm telling you, I love this job. Started their entry-level processing orders for big companies like Walmart, Target, Staples, all the names you could possibly think of. We did business with them. And it was a great job. Moved all the way to operations manager. Had a team about 20 people or 22 people under me, about 3 different departments. And it was a cozy, beautiful job. I love what I did, and will have never left this job to try day trading. But they gave me a 2-year notice that, hey, we're gonna move shop. You're welcome to come. They gave me a nice stay on bonus. I was there for 12 years. So I also have vacation time, all kinds of, benefits for me to stay to the end. And the end was 2017. So during the summer of 2017, basically my job was already transitioned, right? I was just there in case something went wrong. They knew, hey, call this guy, he'll figure it out. That was basically my role. So a lot of that did not happen. My voice is breaking. I'll reset the mic. Anybody else having the same problem? Okay, so in that case, just refresh the browser and you should be okay. But my mic the cable does like to act up a little bit. So if something happens, let me know. Okay. And where I left off, so basically I'm like, okay, I gotta do something with my time. I'm coming to an office to get paid. And at first that was fun, but after 3 months, it got really boring. Humans are not meant to just do nothing. And I was really coming into an office just to collect a check. And it got pretty crappy pretty soon. So I started looking into what I can do with the time. I found trading before I found Bearable Traders or Vancouver Traders at that time. I started to just dabble in with Thinkorswim and man, what a mess. Lost $700 like my first week, and I was like, okay, I need to slow down and really get some education. That's when I ran to Andrew's book and did simulation based on what Andrew was teaching at that time. For about 7 months starting 2017, right? Started with live trading on 2018. So I went live January 2018. My job finished in 2017. So it was a clean cutoff, and then became a moderator of the community 2019, just helping out, answering questions. Andrew said, hey, you want to come on board? And I'm like, yeah, sure, why not? And then from there, the rest is history. My 2 strategies, if you've seen any of my live trading with on YouTube, is the 5-minute ORB breakout and also the VWAP breakout. These are my 2 favorite strategies, right? Have you left your job after joining? I left. No, it was my job again. They laid me off 2017. So I left prior to BBT. Prior to BBT. Yeah. And then some of my passions: aviation. I just love the aviation world and everything about it. Cycling, snowboarding, and I enjoy camping and also hiking as well. All right, so that's a little bit about me. Here's my beautiful family on a vacation we took, I think last year, or the year before. All right, so some of the things we're going to cover today. This presentation is meant for brand new traders, right? If you're not brand new, you're more than welcome to also stick around and hopefully ask questions or even share things that you have experienced that also can be helpful for new traders. And that's the great thing about this community. It's all about helping each other, being able to move forward. So some of the things we're going to be covering is using scanners to find opportunities. You know, how that's going to help you. Staying informed with the news and how to do that in certain things. And my routine, I'll go over what I do every morning. The importance of a trading simulator, which when I started, I did not do this and cost me a lot of money. Navigating market atlas, leveraging a funded account, and then we'll talk into when is it time to move to a professional platform like Dash Trader Pro, like Thinkorswim. You know, all our moderators here, we use Dash Trader Pro. Doesn't mean that's the platform you have to use, right? And we'll talk a bit about that and the costs involved with that. Then towards the end, we'll do a Q&A. All right, perfect. All right, so the gappers list. This is probably one of my most used scanners and probably the most important for me personally, right? I mean, if you look at the exchanges, you know, you got 4,000 tickers in NASDAQ. You got about 2,000 almost in New York Stock Exchange. And you got about 228 in the American Stock Exchange. Oh, I made a mistake here. That's not supposed to be there, then NYSE stock. But the American Stock Exchange, you know, we rarely trade it. There are some tickers there, like the SPY, I believe, sits on the American Stock Exchange and some other ones. But for the most part, you know, with NASDAQ and New York Stock Exchange is what we're really focused on. So with almost, you know, 6,000 tickers, which one are you going to watch? What are you going to look at? And part of trading is identifying what's really in play. Right, you need to be able to identify what's really in play. You can't just randomly wake up and say, oh, I'm going to trade this and that, right? You got to identify what's really moving and what's going to work well with your strategy. I think if there's any luck in trading at all is what you're watching. You know, what stocks are you watching? What are you trading? Is it something that's going to bomb and not trade well? Or is it something that's going to give you the volatility and momentum that you need for your strategy? So if you're watching the wrong stocks, you know, it could be very difficult. It could be a battle uphill trying to get continuation moves and things that are going to trade well within your strategy. So the biggest tools that you need to have is a real good quality scanners, right? And back in when I started, I used to pay for Trade Ideas. And it's still now, they're an amazing scanning company, right? That's what they do. They focus strictly on scanners. But I remember when I was paying that membership, it was like, I think it was $150 or $100 a month. I can't recall. But it was expensive. And starting out, you know, the cost to get started was not cheap when you start adding all these things up. Your scanners, your simulator was $150 with that. You know, I was putting out almost about $400 a month, right? And not making any money. So that does hurt. Once you start making money, it's okay. It's a cost of doing business. But at first, that's a big chunk that comes out of your check. And after you look at it for 2, 3, 4 months down the line, you know, it adds up pretty quickly, right? So what we did with Trading Terminal is we basically copied their scanners. We went in there and we said, okay, they have all these scanners. Let's do the same thing at a much discounted price. So our scanners are basically made out of Trade Ideas, which is, again, an amazing company, not a knock on them. But I found myself paying for this membership. And if you look at everything they offered, I used probably 5% of what they offered, right? So I was not getting the full benefit of that membership because a lot of stuff on there I was just not using as a momentum day trader for the market open. So that's some stuff you have to consider when it comes to that. But again, you need to really know what's in play every single morning. So every morning you got to go to your gappers list. You got to be able to see, okay, these are the stocks that are actually moving, that are actually doing something that can really you can really benefit from. Okay, so definitely you want to have a good scanners, whether that's Trade Ideas or Trading Terminal. You got to have a quality scanner. And some of my criteria for my scanners, and this works well with a lot of the teachings that we do with Bareboot Traders and Trading Terminal webinars. We don't trade low flow stocks, right? You guys know that we focus on mid to large flow stocks. They're easier to trade. They're more forgiving for brand new traders. So if you're new, these stocks are not going to put you in a tough situation where they can drop $1 or drop a big percentage. What makes low flow very attractive to new traders, especially because I remember this very clearly, is that when you're first starting out, especially if you have limited buying power, when a stock is trading at $5 that's moving to $7, $10, in a matter of minutes, that's very attractive because you can buy a whole bunch of shares, right? So when you have that scenario, it really attracts new traders. And I remember when I first started, I was very attracted to these low flow tickers that were at a lower price because I can buy 500 shares very easily, right? And try to move, 5, 6, 7, even 10% at a time, right? So that was very attractive. But the problem with those is they don't really work well with our strategies, right? So we try to buy most as possible, avoid these low flow tickers. Yes, they look attractive when you wake up in the morning and they're up 40%, but they're really not tradable. It's a great question. What I consider a low flow stock is anything under 50 million shares flow. Anything under that, you really got to be a little bit careful. And I tend to avoid these tickers. Matter of fact, my scanners avoid anything under I believe, I took that off, but under 50 million, we'll note it on here. We'll call it a risky type stock, right? Risky pile. All right, so just be careful with those. It's not really much about the price. It's really much about the flow. So we've seen stocks that are, I don't want to misspeak here, but I think RH was one stock that I remember clearly was like $150 stock that was a low flow. And when that thing was in play, it was risky as heck, right? So you did not want to trade something that had a flow like that, because what that means is that anyone like somebody like Andrew, who has a big size account, could move that stock, right? Could take a position, could short it, and could move that stock in any way. So when one person or a group of people can take that stock and do a short squeeze or drop it immediately, that's when it becomes a little bit dangerous. You want to avoid that. So it's not much about the price, it's more about the flow. Now, I personally don't like stocks under $20. I think they don't trade all that well. But there's a few outliers that can do pretty good, right? They're around $15, $13. They have a large flow. They're not going to drop on you unexpectedly. So those are things to consider. And what I'm looking for in this gappers list, right, when I'm putting my watch list together, is I want to see very significant pre-market volume and also good opening volume, right? We sometimes have stocks in play that are on the list that the market opens and there's no volume, right? That's not going to help us, because we at the end of it all, we are momentum traders. So we need stuff to really move and to get things going. Yes, you did. I got your email. I'll send it back to you. I think it was from Friday or something. And we could talk about it today too, here in this presentation when we're done, if we have time. We'll talk about the 3 differences between Trading Terminal, Bareboot Traders, and the bootcamp, right? So I think that's we could talk about that. That's important. In addition to that, real-time scanners also are very useful, right? So after I look at the gappers list is only good for the morning, right? After the morning, it expands. It puts a bunch of stuff on that's getting volume. It's really not useful. So at the morning, before the bell rings, you can use your gappers list. After that, then we go into our real-time scanners, right? And the idea for this is it's going to help you identify stuff that might not be on your list. For example, when the day starts, the 2 things I'm looking at is this turbo breakup and turbo breakdown. Now here, I took the screenshot a little bit later in the day, so it's not populated. But these 2 scanners are really good. And when I had Trade Ideas, I love these 2 scanners, right? And I'm glad that we were able to copy that over. So basically what this is going to identify is stocks that are moving with heavy volume in any direction, up or down, right? And for example, if you have your PLTR, if you have your Apple, you have your Tesla, and they're not moving well, they're choppy, there could be something in here that gets spotted that you can take a look at and see if it meets your criteria, right? And one of the things is, with all these tools, right, all the tools that you have, the scanners, Market Atlas, which we'll talk about a little bit, they're just a tool. They're not the be-all, end-all, right? So you got to be aware of that, because I remember when I first started, I would look at the extreme reversal scanner. This one caught me at a lot of times. You'll get a ticker here coming up that, hey, this has been down 5 red candles. It might be time for reversal, and then I will take a trade. The problem with that is you're not matching it up to a strategy, right? So nothing replaces having a strategy where you have your entire breakdown, and we have other videos on that, where you have your stock selection, you have your how to identify the strategy, and then how to execute the strategy. You still need to have that, right? We're not going to get into those details, but that's part of the process that comes later down the line. Once you have the tools, you got to make sure you have a strategy on what you're trading, right? The scanner is not going to be, hey, I'm just going to follow this blindly. It's not going to work that well, right? You're going to end up losing money because the scanner is going to have a lot of noise on here, and you got to be able to filter some of this noise, right? So there's a pro and a con to everything. The pro on the scanners is identify things that you might not be watching. Try to find stuff from the gappers list that is going to be helpful to you. But at the end of it all, you got to have that strategy to match it up against, because the con of this is there's a lot of noise here that is not going to trade very well. And that's just not in Trading Terminal. This is Trading Terminal scanners here. That's in any scanner. The one that has Thinkorswim, the one that's in Dash Trader Pro embedded in that one, the one from Trade Ideas. That's across the board. You need to be able to filter out what's trading within your strategy, right? So it's very, very important. Let me move this out the way. So scanners is key, right? And Trading Terminal has a great scanner. That's the one I use every morning now, and I highly recommend you give it a try. What is Trading Terminal? Yes, it is in Trading Terminal. This is in Trading Terminal. So I'll actually show you, because a lot of the tools we're going to talk about, again, as I was putting this presentation together, a lot of the stuff comes from here, right? From Trading Terminal. So we put all the tools a new trader needs in here to be able to get started in trading. So you click on scanners here, you'll be able to see the scanners. When you click on the simulator, you got the simulator, and you basically got all the tools you need on here. And they're very customizable. So you could definitely take advantage on customizing things the way you like. That's important too, because I remember at one point I had limited buying power, and stocks that were, 300, 250 were not ideal for me because I could take very little shares, right? So even though I got the move I wanted, I was not making the amount that was worth it, right? So what I did was, at that time, I went from a filter that only included stocks that had a $20 price to an $80 price. Right, so I've even filtered out even more noise, right? Kind of fine tune it to what works for me and my buying power at that time and how I was trading. You could do the same, right? You can come in here and you can filter things out to your price range that you like, that you're comfortable with. I was also not comfortable trading, $150 stocks that would move. Even if I was able to take a good amount of shares, I was just not comfortable trading at that price, right? As you get more experience, that does not become an issue. We trade $300 stocks all the time now, right? We're between Tesla and some other ones. So that's not an issue anymore. But at first it can be, make the tools work for you. Make these tools work for you. You don't have to watch everything. All you need is one or two really good tickers that are moving. Focus on those, have your strategy in place, and take advantage of the move that they provide, if they do provide it, right? There's going to be some days where these tickers are, they're just not going to give you the opportunity. Don't feel the pressure to have to trade something. That's very, very important. All right. So again, everything is in tradingterminal.com. We'll talk about some of these on here. So good question, guys. All right, so the scanner is the first tool you need to have. You need to have a good scanner. Filter things out so they can make sense for you. Filter out the low flow stocks. You don't need to look at those. They're very risky, especially if you are a brand new trader. The next thing you want to have is tools that are going to provide you with news. Now, news could be a little bit tricky because there's so many different places that you can get news from. But you need to stay informed on what's happening with the market and what sectors are in play and what can affect you throughout the day. So my morning routine is every morning I wake up around 5:30. And I put on Bloomberg, right? I like Bloomberg Radio. So I put on Bloomberg Radio and I listen to what's happening for the day. What is the top news that's affecting the market that day, whether it's tariffs, whether it's any mergers, whether it's any NVIDIA deals like we saw today with Microsoft. So I want to be aware of what sector is in play. Is quantum in play? And kind of the underlying a catalyst that's moving a ticker. Eventually, those end up in the gappers list if they get enough volume. But the idea here that's very important for new traders is, as you're looking at your news, whether you get it from Bloomberg, listen to Bloomberg, whether you're getting it from Benzinga. We have a partnership with Benzinga, by the way. So Writing Trading Terminal, part of your membership is that you got this Benzinga news in the back. And if you guys heard Andrew Trey, he has the Benzinga running in the background because they provide live updates of things that can help active traders. And what I like about the Benzinga news is that they filter out a lot of the noise. So you're gonna get stocks that are specifically geared towards active traders like me and you, right? They focus on that retail trading, right? And they're very good. You could have them running in the background. You could see why something is moving. They'll call it out. Earnings as well. You do a good job with that also if you do like to trade earnings. So it's nice to have that feature. But then here you also have breaking news. You have all the tickers and any news that might be major that's coming out. So you can see, okay, for example, Amazon has something happening here. This is all after hours, so it's not really going to give you a lot of trading opportunities. But throughout the day, there's constantly news coming out. And sometimes you will see market news. So it'll be like the SPY, right? Let's say tariff news or any news that can affect the market that's not really company driven, but overall market news. You'll see like the SPY on here because it can affect the overall market. One of the most important things, though, when it comes to this news ticker, right? You can get this from a trading terminal as well, and other news. Again, I look at a lot of news. I look at this one. I look at Bloomberg. I got a Bloomberg membership, which is actually really good. It's $30, and I really love their analysts and their writing of their opinion pieces, right? They're really nice, very informative, and I really enjoy the way they do their writing. So it's very nice. So if you have your budget, which we'll talk a little bit later about, your starting budget for your trading business. If you have the budget, highly recommend you check it out. I think they do a trial for a month for free. And if you like it, put it on there. Why not? Biggest thing with news is, trade the volatility. This is important. All right, because many times when you first start out, if you don't have a strong strategy, it can be so easy to just trade the bias of that news. And what do I mean by that? If something comes out and they say, in fact, the one that dropped 66% today, what ticker was that? It dropped about 66% at the market open. It was negative news. They failed some kind of pharmaceutical, whatever it was. It was negative news, right? You will think, I'm going to short this stock. Cure. Yeah, Qure. Exactly. I'm going to short this stock. And we saw one last week too where it dropped a bunch. I think it was FI, right? Dropped almost 40%. That's a big chunk, right? All negative news. You would think at the bell when we're getting ready to trade, this thing is going to continue to collapse, right? Because you might have that bias that, hey, this has a negative outcome. And you might want to short that ticker. But both of those tickers, at least for the beginning part of the day, were long. So you don't want to have this bias. What you want to do is you want the news to create the volatility for you, right? That's the whole point of looking at the news as retail traders. The actual underlying of the company's P&E and their performance and the finances, that's more for swing traders and people that are trading fundamentals. Keep in mind, we're not fundamental traders, right? We're day traders. We're trading strictly technical. So we don't care specifically about the actual news. We care what the news is going to bring to the table as far as movement, right? So our job as a trader is to not do what we think based on a headline, right? That's very important. Headlines will fake you out every single time. And it happened to me at the start, right? I'll see a positive headline like, oh, this is great. It's going to be good news. They're up 10%. The thing is going to go higher. And the thing becomes a short the entire day. So don't let that build a bias, right? News is important. You got to stay informed. We have plenty of tools for you to do that throughout the trading day. Also do your own part of pick your favorite channels or outlet out there that you like for market news and stay up to date with what's happening, right? That's important. So you can have an idea of what sectors, what market, what tickers might be in play for that day. But again, don't let that build a bias. What time do you go through the news before the trading day, or is it in the background during the day? So I have Bloomberg running in the background throughout the day. So I have that running in the background. No, Bloomberg, no, you might be thinking about the Bloomberg. It's not that expensive. You might be thinking about the Bloomberg. What's it called? Their their trading. I forgot the name of it, but you might be talking about their Bloomberg platform, which is a whole different story. That's like 20 grand a month. The Bloomberg terminal is like 20 grand a month or something like that. It's a ridiculous amount, right? That's completely different, right? So yeah, you have that. It's a whole different ball game. So do you need it? Yeah, it's like, right, it's like 20K a month. Yeah, it's ridiculous. I'm sure they get updates on news and all kinds of stuff you could do with that tool. You probably could by now have it trade for you, right? So is it 2K a month? Okay, it's something ridiculous. I thought it was a lot more. I thought it was like in the rounds of like 10, 20. So I'm not sure, but it's very, very expensive. The membership I'm talking about is just, for their opinion news, for all the stuff they release out there, and also access to their channel as well, which is really nice because their channel does give you breaking news. They'll have it on there, and they'll have a nice setup so you could look at what's happening, right? So I enjoy it. It's $30 a month. I signed up, and I found it so far very useful. So I have it running throughout the day. Even when I'm doing the pre-market show and even the live trading, I'll have it on a different screen just to see if anything comes up that is useful. All right. So stay informed. There's many ways to do this. Again, you could search tickers on tradingterminal.com. You can search news almost anywhere. So there's a feature that we have here that's very powerful. But again, this Benzinga tool is very, very nice. If you have not used it yet, definitely check it out. It's hard for me to do it when I'm live with you guys, to have something else also running in the background because this is all audio. But it's definitely pretty nice as well. And this is also powered. I believe this new thing is also powered by Benzinga, which they do a great job as well with their text there. All right, so now let's get to the fun part: trading simulator. And as a new trader, I remember I went in straight to live trading, right? Which is a big mistake a lot of traders make. They lose money, then they realize, okay, I probably should go learn on how to trade, right? That's usually the course that many traders take. You have to use a simulator, right? And my rule is, until you can make money consistently in the simulator, you don't move to your own broker trading your own money. Right, that's a disaster. You're not going to just magically start making money in a real live account, right? So you never want to do that. You want to train a simulator. You want to treat the simulator like it's real money. I know people like to come in and they like to play around and they'll hold past their stop and they'll hold something and be down like $1,500, and then it comes back to green and like, oh, they close the green. Oh, look, I make money today. You're not going to do that in your real account. Right, that's not something your stomach is going to be able to hold on a real account, especially when you start trading. So, be reasonable with the simulator. Trade a decent amount of shares like you would if you're trading a live account. This will give you the best practice as a new trader to get started in a real account, right? Very, very important. So don't go in here. Yes, can you play around with it a little bit to get used to how to enter trades? Yeah, that's all fine and dandy. But eventually you want to get to the point where like, okay, I'm going to start my trading to prepare for a live account that you're going to be trading with your own money, right? So you won't be taking 1,000 shares on Tesla. You won't be taking drawdowns of like $2,000. Then eventually comes back to break even or averaging down. You're not going to be breaking these rules on your live account. And if you do, like many people do, like I have had in the past, you are going to pay quite a bit, right? You're going to pay quite a bit. So it's very important that you are focused strictly on trading like you would a real account. So that's the whole purpose of the simulator, is to prepare you, to get you ready without risking your own money, right? So we have a great simulator, and we'll talk about the funded account a little bit later as well and what that does. But even before you even think about the funded account, try the simulator. Try the simulator, try to trade your strategies, try to understand the price action. The whole point of this is to get screen time, right? People don't talk a lot about screen time and seat, but as a new trader, this is crucial. You have to have screen time. And the more screen time you have, the better you're going to understand the price action. You're going to understand which tickers don't trade well. The market is repetitive, right? Price action is repetitive, right? There's so many different outcomes. You never know what's really going to happen. No one does. Not even the best analysts know what's going to happen. But the more screen time you get, the more prepared you're going to be to react to certain situations. When you see a certain pattern, hey, I've seen this before. When this happens, the likelihood is that this can happen. That's what we're doing, right? That's all. As traders, that's all we're doing. We're trying to identify patterns that, hey, when this takes place, the next likely thing is going to happen is this. That benefits me in getting long, getting short, trading my strategy. That's all we're doing, right? It's that simple. So you want to practice that in a simulator. You want to get that screen time. A lot of people, when they first start trading, they'll pick their two strategies. As a new trader, understand that once you start practicing your new strategies, the first month or two, you're going to be really bad. Yeah, you're just not going to be good. You're going to be getting in late. You're going to be overthinking things. And at the end, you might come to 3 months and realize, hey, these two strategies are not really working for me. Doesn't mean that, there's not a strategy out there. It just means you got to change the strategy. And it also doesn't mean that the time you spend watching the market is wasted time. A lot of people think that way, and they, instead of changing the strategy to something else, they want to force those strategies into a live environment, and that's when things go really bad. So take your time in the simulator. Don't move to a funded account. Don't move to a live account until you actually have a strategy that you can trade. As humans, we like to, because I did this, well, some of us, not all of us, we like to only take things serious when it's real skin in the game, right? Like, oh, it's a simulator, who cares? I have certain people think that's okay. Hey, it's just a simulator, just play around. But the point is to get you ready for that. It's like taking a driving test, right? And you're just messing around, so you're learning how to drive. Are you going to be doing that when you get the exam, when you actually are on the road? No, you're not. So trade is like a real account. Get the experience, get the screen time, and then prepare yourself to move to a funded account, and then eventually your own account, right? That's the purpose of this. Questions here, let me get to some. How to help distinguish between a trade bias and a solid trade hypothesis? Is the hypothesis formed from the combination of the news indicators in chat? Yes. So you can have a thesis, right? You can have your thesis where you think, okay, the likelihood of this happening is this could be a long opportunity. You can have that, and that's okay. And I have that all the time. I had it today with Amazon, right? And unfortunately got stopped out twice. Eventually did drop the level I was expecting, right? Just my timing was off. So you can have that, but at the end of the day, your trading execution should be on your strategy, right? And your strategy should not really have a bias or a news-driven event that's driving that strategy. That strategy, at least for technical traders, is based on your technicals, right? If this pattern shows up, if the volume is this, if this level gets broken, if we get confirmation here, then we take our entry, right? That's really what your trading should come down to, is that strategy, right? And we can talk about that. It's a whole different webinar. We can get into that at a later time. How long do you need to make money in sim before going live? I want to say at least 2 to 3 months, right? You don't want to wait too long. You don't want to wait like 7-8 months in simulator. I only did 7 months because I was stuck at a job and I was just going to wait till I was done. I was laid off at the end of the year. But you don't want to wait that long. You want to start getting the feel for trading real money, for having skin in the game. So, go to a funded account after 2-3 months of, actually trading well, not making rookie mistakes, right? You are going to make rookie mistakes. You're going to take a long when you want to take a short, get that stuff out of the way, get the nervous things out of the way first, become confident in the platform, understand your tools, and then that's when you're ready to go live. But at least 2 or 3 months, trading well, then you can start thinking about, getting a funded account, getting a broker's account. All right. So if you work full-time in the office during the market hours, what's your best advice for using a simulator? So that's when we get into the replay simulator, which actually I missed to put on here, the replay simulator. That's when you get into that. And I think that can be very, very helpful. So if you're working full-time and you're stuck in a 9 to 5, use a replay simulator, right? Go back, and don't go back to like today's day. Go back to like last week, right? Eamon does a great job of giving you guys the tickers that were in play that day. That's also available on our website, Bearable Traders. You can go in there, look at the stuff that was in play. You can see what other moderators were watching. So if you find yourself trading like Brian, trading like Thor, trading like one of the moderators, look at what stocks they had in play for that day. Put those tickers on your watch list, and then just play the replay. Play the replay and act like it's the market open, and you're going to get that screen time. You're going to see the way the price action moves. Be surprised. I see a lot of people don't do that. And this is the part where you got to spend time in the back end. You don't become a trader just at the market open when the bell rings, right? There's a lot of work that's done behind the scenes outside of the market that can prepare you, right? The simulator is a great one, right? The replay simulator. So take advantage of that, right? And then eventually when, whether your time changes with your job, or you're able to take the mornings off, or you have some availability during that market hour, you're prepared, right? I know a lot of people, they say, oh, I'm not going to learn how to trade yet because I'm stuck at a job and I don't have any idea when this is going to change. Start practicing. Start practicing, because when you are ready, you're going to hit the ground running, right? So if you know this is something you want to try, spend the time practicing, 1 hour a day at night, and do the simulator. And yes, it might feel like, oh, this is useless, but trust me, it is extremely helpful. Screen time is something that we don't give a lot of credit to. A lot of people don't talk about it, but screen time is key, right? When you see Andrew trade, sometimes he takes trades that you're like, okay, I'm not sure what he's seeing in there. It's just a time and see. He's been trading for 10 years. He's been looking at charts for 10 years. He's been looking at pricing patterns for 10 years, right? So this is something that's going to stick with you, and it's going to make you a better trader. Yeah, Jeremy, so you've been using it. Awesome. Yeah, they're really, really good. They're really, really good, right? So don't feel like you're stuck without an out. There is a way for you to still get practice and get going there. When you started playing with real money, did you have a daily profit target percentage on your account? And if so, what percentage was it? So I went through some tough times when I went live. I started risking 250 per trade, which I found out quickly was way too much, right? So my plan was, hey, I'm gonna make $500 a day, and that'll be it, right? Not the way it works out. With live trading, it didn't work out very well. I did get some wins. I remember. And I told a story before. I remember at one point I had 3 weeks where the first week was like 1,500 we made. The second week was like 2,000. The third week was like almost 4,000. This is a brand new trader, brand new, right? So yes, it was great when things were working out, but the problem with that is I was risking way too much, right? Risking way too much. If I can go back and redo my simulator experience, I would have done it with less shares, risking a little bit less, like if it was something realistic, right? And after I had my huge loss, I lost $17,000 with bad habits and all this stuff. After I had that loss, I reset it. I'm like, I really got to go back down to, oh, wow, it's pouring out there. And I left something out that I got to put inside. I'll be right back. All right, sorry about that. I left my leaf blower out there. I was blowing leaves before I started doing the chat here, so I had to run and get that. No, the bike is inside. Never leave the bike outside. All right, so yeah, so I had a realization. I got to start forgetting about the money and think about the process. So what I did was I literally went down to $20 risk, right? $20 risk per trade. And it was a group of us. It was 3 of us. We started holding each other accountable. We were struggling. We were really struggling. And I was like, no, I got to really focus on $20 risk, no more than that, and try to make 40. And it really helped. And then slowly every month, if we did well, then we pushed it up, right? So that's how we did it. All right, let's continue here. Okay, Market Atlas, another tool that it's not new, right? This thing has been out for quite some time. And if you look at it, not Atlas itself, but for example, Bookmap, right? It's been out for a while. I never really used it. I heard a lot of people rave about it, like Thor. Thor's been telling us to use Bookmap for a couple of months now. And you're like, okay, the tools I had was working, so I didn't really bother with it. But when it became part of my membership with Trading Terminal, I'm like, let me take a look at it. It is really good. It is really, really good. So here's another tool that's part of your Trading Terminal membership that you don't have to pay extra for, right? When you start looking at all these tools separately, I think Bookmap is probably what, $34, $40, depending where you get it from. I think they have different tiers of membership, but the one I saw was like $34. It starts to add up. So you get this, now you get a Dash Trader Pro Simulator, it's $150. You're looking at almost $400 a month, right? You got your membership with BBT because you're part of a community. It adds up. It adds up pretty fast. So with Trading Terminal, we created Market Atlas, and man, what a great tool it is. It really helps you identify levels of support and resistance. Now, I'm pretty new to it, so I can't talk to all the things you can do with it. Nathan Thor could do a way better job at that, but it's becoming one of the tools that I'm getting very familiar with, and I'm really enjoying some of the visuals on here, right? And the one thing I like the most, this is what you don't get out of level 2, right? In level 2, you see it real time where the demand and the supply is. And I got a great webinar for you new traders, right? If you're new, I got a great video on YouTube. I'm gonna put the link out here. Actually, Dwayne, if you could get that link, it's the one that we talk about the supply and demand. I did like 5 years ago. To this day, it's still the same. That video still applies. It's still the way we look at level 2. It's the way Andrew looks at level 2. So when Andrew did that presentation, he asked me to actually record it and put it on YouTube, but it's his presentation as far as how he looks at the level 2. And to this day, that's how we do it. What the Market Atlas does, it provides a more visual and better understanding where these levels are at. And what I love about it is the history on it, right? So for example, you can see the history, like here, this price, 200, obviously is a big level, but you could tell if buyers are still sitting here or if they're getting lighter. You can tell what's happening in real time, plus the history of it for the last couple of minutes, which can be very important, right? To see how things are developing. Are we losing ground? Are we losing bids? Is it going lower? You don't have that with the live level 2 on Dash Trader Pro. So this is extremely helpful. Highly recommend it. Again, I know there's more to it, but I'm just starting out with this tool. But this is something as a new trader that you can quickly put on here and add to your tool belt, right? So very, very nice. We've done a pretty good job with this one, and again, it's part of your trading terminal membership as well. No, that's not the one. Dwayne, let me see if I can find it here for you guys. So I think this is if you're starting out, level 2 can be a little bit tricky at first. And this will break down the details that you can use it. Let me see if I can find it here. Okay, Dwayne's giving you the replay. Awesome. Let me see here, level 2. Just gonna get this so I don't forget. How we doing on time? Okay, we still got some good time here. Okay, so here it is. Yes, got it. All right, let me. Oh yeah, Dwayne, that's it. Yep. That's the one from 6 years ago. Yep, that's it. Yes, Seth, it is much easier to read. It's a tool that I did not start training with when I did my simulation or my live trading, for all these years. But it's really nice to be able to see. It's very straightforward. The level 2 moves very fast, so it's hard for people to see, what's really happening, to keep track of the numbers and everything else. It could be a little bit distracting. It could be actually overwhelming, right? So the Atlas, it gives you a better visual on how things are placing, where the bids and the buyers are. So this could be extremely helpful. All right, let's see here. All right, funded account. All right, so now that you have all your tools in place, you have your scanners, you practice in the simulator, now you are ready to try a funded account. And the purpose of the funded account is for you to put some real skin in the game, right? Some real skin in the game where now you are actually paying for this, right? You're paying, I think it's $300 or something to sign up for it. You're actually putting money on the line now, right? You can actually make money. If you are able to follow all the rules, if you're able to stay profitable, you can actually make money out of the account within 90 days, right? Andrew will definitely pay you out. But that's just part of it. A lot of people are joining the funded account, and what they're doing is they just want to get the payout. That's the least of the goal there. Great, if you can make money and you get paid out, awesome. But the idea is that if you can make money here, if you can become profitable, with the commissions that we just added, with the real life market environment, then you're ready to move to a real account. Like if I'm starting out and I cannot make money in a funded account, then there's no reason for me to go start risking my own money now, right? You have to be able to make money here, and not just 1 or 2 days, because I think everyone here can make money in 1 or 2 trades. It's not rocket science. The hardest thing with traders, and this is something that we have talked about before, we can teach you how to make money trading. I don't think that's a problem within the trading community, especially retail traders. The issue is, the biggest problem that new traders have when they're starting out, and even some experienced traders, is keeping the money that they make. That is by far one of the hardest things that we've seen. And I should have had it here. I wish I would have thought about it, but as we're talking now, I cannot explain to you how many equity curves in the funded account, in the boot camp, in other mentorships that I've done in the past, where people's equities, they're doing great. They do awesome. Like, oh, you figure it out. You got this. And then all it takes is boom, one or two bad trades, and they give it all back. All back. You know, and that's the problem. How can we help these traders just stop? Just stop. I know part of it is psychology and everything else, but this is a big problem in the retail trading community, that these guys know how to trade. They know how to make money. They know how to take strategies. They know how to do, what they need to actually make money and grow their account. But it just takes 1 or 2 days to blow it all up, right? And part of it, obviously, psychology, but not having enough practice and going straight into an environment where you start risking your own money could add even more pressure, right? So this adds pressure, but not to the point where it's as tough as it is when you're trading your own money, your own hard-earned money, right? You put in $300, you got it for 90 days. Do your best to be profitable, to show that, okay, I can actually handle this. I can actually, go into a live account where now I'm risking my own money. So the goal here is to experience different market conditions, or experience everything before you open up your own money and you open up your broker account. That's the idea, right? So I think everyone, before opening a broker account, do the funded account challenge, see if you can make money there. If you can make money and you could keep it, right? That's the thing, you could keep it, then you're ready for your live account. Other than that, you should not be trading your own money just yet, because you haven't proven to yourself that you're ready, that you actually have the experience to actually start managing an account that's $30,000, $25,000 in the market. Where there's nobody that's gonna stop you. You're not trading with a firm where they have rules and regulations, where they're watching over your account. It's just you. So if your psychology takes over, which usually what happens here, if your psychology takes a detour, it's going to cost you a lot. Not just the $200 for the funded account, the $300 for the funded account. It's going to cost you a lot more, right? So why not invest that first in a funded account? See that, okay, I can make money. I can keep the money within 90 days. You can keep money within 90 days. You could be profitable within 90 days. You're ready for a live account. You're ready for a live account. There's no need to do the funded account again. Do the live account, move over, and start doing the same thing you've been doing in this situation, right? That's ideal. Let me get some questions here. Let's see here. I'm not sure where I'm getting these messages, but I see Dwayne. Oh, Dwayne, you're answering messages that are private. I don't know how that works. Okay, cool. Let me see over here. What do we have? Carlos, I found the link here to the onboarding link. There's 3 weeks. 3 weeks I tried to get some onboarding class. We're doing an onboarding class right after this. Right after this, we'll do onboarding class. So, I got, 7:51. Time is running. Do you still have the same trading station set up as you did in the video? On that video, no. I think that's six monitors. No, I don't have that anymore. I only have 3 monitors now. I do need to get one more monitor, because now I want to have Market Atlas on a separate monitor. There's a lot of tools that I want to have now, so I'm going to get one more. But starting out as a new trader, 2-3 monitors is all you need. In a lot of you guys can start with what you have right now, maybe 2 monitors, right? And if you only have one, invest in another one. Get a used one from Best Buy. Go see what they have refurbished. Walk through their little thing there. They have some open box stuff that's pretty cheap. You can get a decent monitor for almost $90. A good monitor for $90 at Best Buy, right? So pawn shops or that too. Exactly. How long will you practice in a simulator, assuming you are doing well, before you pay for the funded account? 2 to 3 months, no more than that. 2-3 months you're doing well, move to a funded account, start putting some skin in the game. If 2-3 months you're doing well, I think it's time to take the next step. Where can I learn about the scanners, filters, alerts? When I was putting this presentation together, I have a presentation showing all the scanners, every single scanner that we have on Trading Terminal. So maybe I'll do a video that we'll put up on YouTube, make it public for everybody, and I'll do some new slides with the new features that we have now for the scanner. So I do have all of that. Maybe I'll put a video together this week for you, Ralph. Can you do a TT funded account again if you are profitable and get a payout? I'm not sure, Sean, if that's one of the conditions. But again, if you are, why go through it? Well, I could see, if you don't have the PDT, which by the way should be going away beginning of next year, which is going to be another problem in itself for brand new traders, because now that a lot of people can actually open up an account with, I think it's 2,500 is what the PDT is going to move down to. You're going to have a slew of these brand new traders, right, that are not taking the right steps like you guys are, going into the market to trade, because now they can day trade. And it's good. I'm all for the move down, but I'm also all for, you need to know what you're doing, right? If money is not the problem as far as day trading, it's the education and the training part that's the issue, right? So you're gonna have all these brand new traders now putting in their 5K and just making a mess, right? So hopefully they find their way to get some education first, and before they start actually trading their actual money, right? That's going to be very, very important. But I see that happening. I see that happening where a lot of people are going to go in there and just start messing around with their live account, not go to the simulation, not do the funded account, and they're going to be in for a shock, right? Because this is not easy. What's a good platform for Mac, Dash, Pros, or Parallels? Actually, we'll talk about that in a second here. I have... So that's the funded account. Again, I think it's a step everybody should take. And I wish when I started, we had something like this. We went from simulation straight to trading real money, right? And there's no buffer in between to help you get ready for that, right? And yes, you're still going to be nervous. You're still going to, have those jitters when you go live on your broker account. That's going to happen, especially that first trade. I remember like it was yesterday, my first live trade after I went through my simulation I was nervous. I was nervous. My palms were sweaty. I still remember like it was yesterday. This is a good buffer because you got skin in the game. Is going to help you prepare for that. All right. Yeah, Ali. So the PDT right now is set up to 25,000 right here in the U.S. FINRA already approved. Their board already approved bringing it down to 2,500. Now it's waiting on the SEC and some other boards to approve it. And then once that's done, then the restriction will come down to 2,500. But the fact that it went to the first hurdle already and it got approved, most likely is going to happen. It's just a matter of time. A lot of experts are saying by the beginning of next year. It is. It's going to be a huge game changer if you can trade with $10,000, right, opposed to having 25K. I know traders that have the money and they don't want to put, their 40,000 in the trading account because first of all, they either don't trust themselves yet or they're just not ready to risk that much on a venture that they don't know if they're going to be good at. So to start with a small account, makes sense. So I'm looking forward to that. And this is going to take some time for all the brokers to actually implement that change, which I'm sure they're going to do very quickly. I'm sure Interactive Brokers, like in a week, is going to have that done. Why? Because it's more transaction fees for them, right? It's more accounts being opened up. So that's not going to take long. We're just waiting for the approvals to take place here. There's not a PDT restrictions for options, but options, like Andrew said today, they're difficult. They're difficult, and you got to know what you're doing. And when you're playing with leverage, right? One of the biggest problems we have in the trading in the funded account is that people take a bunch of leverage, right? We'll give you a 12,500 to start with, buying power of 50,000, and people are using the 50,000 on a trade. Like, that's too much leverage. Options can be even worse, so you got to be really careful when it comes to options. I'm going to move through this very quickly, guys. I just noticed the time we're running out pretty quick here. Moving to a professional platform. Then once you pass the funded account, then move to a professional platform like Dash Trader Pro. We kind of spoke about this a little bit on when to know when you're ready to move to an account. To a pro platform. I think within 2 or 3 months of good trading where you're following your rules, you have a strategy, you have a trade book, right? We have tons of videos about how to build your trade book. The bootcamp is all about that, how to build your trade book, how to set it up. That's important, right? Doesn't matter how many tools you have, right? You can have all the best professional tools in the world. If you don't have a trade book to follow, you are not going to be successful, right? That's like opening up a business without a business plan. You're not going to succeed, right? It's just the way it is. And then with everything, these tools are expensive. So look at your trading budget, right? Look at your trading budget and see, okay, what tools can I afford with my budget, right? The great thing about Trading Terminal is $99 a month, and you get all these tools, right? You get the simulator, you get the you don't get the funded account, but you get the simulator, you get the scanners, you get Market Atlas. I mean, right there you have three things that you will be paying for if you were to go separately, right? So this is a great deal that Andrew has put together. I know it's not going to stay at that price. So think about it. I always tell people, try it out. If it's something you like, definitely stick with it, because the price is going to go up to be able to help for all the data that he's spending and the developers. These guys are not cheap, right? So we got to pay these guys to make sure they keep this tool up and running, and also make it nicer than what it is right now. So take advantage of the replay, take advantage of the simulator. This is all available to you. That's just really good. Going back to TT is pretty tough, honestly. Yes, DAS is a professional platform. If you're able to afford DAS right out of the gates, do it. You know, DAS is a pro platform. This is why people ask, oh, are you guys going to be able to attach the trading terminal to a broker account to trade with? And Andrew's like, no, why would I do that? DAS already has it figured out. They got the best tool when it comes to trading. Right, it is awesome. And I agree, Mike. I have tried to, when I first started, I tried to, you know, I was struggling. I was paying $150 for just a simulator on that. I wasn't even trading real money. I was paying $150 a month for the simulator. And I'm like, you know, let me see if I can use something else, a TWS or Thinkorswim. It just doesn't work. For my strategy, it just doesn't work. It was very, very difficult to do that. Hey, Dwayne, you want to open up the class? And I'll start heading over there in a second because it's 8 o'clock. But I want to make sure I finish up with you guys here. So it was very difficult because DAS does a good job. But if you're brand new, you can still use a simulator here. Get started, save some money, and then eventually, I agree, Mike, you got to move to a DAS platform, a pro platform. DAS is not the only one, right? We're not pushing DAS on people, but it is the one we use for a reason. There are other direct market access platform out there, but DAS attached with Interactive Brokers, they do a really, really amazing job. All right, let me try to get to some of these questions. I'll have to stop here. Let me see if I can get to some of these questions. Sorry, I'm off topic. One personal question I am beginner and I want to quit my job. I give 1 year to learn and enter the real market. Is that a good time? Well, anyone that asks me, should they leave their job? My answer is no. Don't quit your job. You gotta understand that trading brings a lot of pressure to make money. Now, if you have the funds to survive, your daily expenses for a year and you don't have to worry about making money from trading, right? If you don't have that pressure, then by all means go for it. I know some people that they have a good amount of money and they, I can survive for a year, 2 years and a half with no worries. And they left their job or thinking about leaving their job. Great. But it adds a level of pressure, right? When I got laid off, I got a boatload of money. And even then, I still felt the pressure to make money, right? So I don't recommend you do that. I'd rather recommend you try to find a different job that can cover the expenses. Even if you have a lot of money, cover the expenses if you can, the daily expenses, and then trading become less stressful. You don't want that pressure of, okay, I have this time frame to try to make money, so see if I can survive off of this, right? You don't want that level of pressure. But now if you have enough and you're able to plan that very well, if your living expenses can do it, by all means, give it a shot. That's probably one of the fastest and best way to do it if you can focus completely on trading. But to balance the pressure of having to make money out of something that's very difficult is very tough. So you want to be very, very careful with that. All right. Do you have any advice for preparing for fees, commissions, and live trading? That's what the funded account does, right? The funded account has commissions on there, so you see real time what, especially when you're trading small, you're going to hit with those commissions and then you're going to see what this will be like in a real live environment. So you want to try that first and you're going to get a real feel for what it's like when those commissions come in, because they do add up. I remember having days where I traded a boatload, was negative, came back up to break even made a little bit of money after trading my butt off. When I went to my Interactive Brokers account, I was negative because the commissions were like $400, right, from all the trading I did, right? So it gives you a real life perspective on how that is, right? It could be a real awakening, right? So the funded account is going to help with that, to give you a realistic expectation of what your net profit is going to be at the end of all these trades. Okay. Let's see here. I think I got to a request. So after TT Simulator, we still better go to DAS, right? It depends. I will suggest funded account first. That's my suggestion. If you want to go to DAS, that's more of a question a decision that you have to make. I recommend go to the funded account. I think it's a great tool to decide whether you're ready or not, opposed to doing it on your actual account, right? What Mike was talking about is once you start trading in DAS, then it's difficult to use other platforms because you get so used to some of the professional tools that they have. But if you haven't done that already, do the funded account. Get that experience, and then move over to a professional platform. Then open up your own account. All right, friends, I have to run to the onboarding class. I wish we had more time. We can always do this again. I think definitely I want to do one with the scanners on the criterias. I think that would be a really good webinar as far as how to use every scanners, what they're going to help you identify, what strategies those scanners can be good for. And we're talking about these over here, right? We're talking about the all these scanners here, right? The extreme reversals. I have a webinar where I explain what all of these are good for and what they can help you with, what strategy, what you're looking at them for. So I think that'll be the next webinar we do. I think it'll be very useful, and we'll do it here. We'll do an in Trading Terminal webinar as well, free for you guys. So guys, thank you so much. I appreciate you guys taking the time to be with me here tonight. This is recorded, so we'll put it up on the website. Once again, if you have any questions that we didn't get to today because we ran out of time, Carlos@BearBootTraders.com, send me an email there, and I will get back to you as soon as possible. Okay, usually within 48 hours, if I'm not behind on the madness. But yeah, send me an email there, and I would love to hear from you. And guys, take care. Have a great evening.